Hello, everyone, and welcome back here to the Pulse with Dillon and Ben, the co-founders PeakBot, and Mark Phillips from Harvested Financial. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Doing good. Pretty good morning.
Good
Mark,
morning.
how you doing?
How you doing,
You
Mark?
know, I'm a little upset. I'm sure people that tune in regularly know I'm a sports fan, specifically a Yankees fan, and got the news last night that Juan Soto signed with the Mets. So, yeah, brutal. But for the money that he got, I'm glad the Yankees didn't pay that out.
Yeah, it was quite a ridiculous contract. And immediately I thought you were going to what always happens today is, the Giants' loss.
The Giants
I didn't
suck.
even know.
Well,
A Giants loss at this point is actually great, right?
they almost won yesterday, which was scary.
By mistake, actually.
That would have been the Giants thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they won by losing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Juan Soto's $765 million over 15 years.
Is that the highest ever?
That's the
50 mil a
largest.
year?
That's 51 a year, 51 mil a year if they structure it that way. But yeah, that's the largest sports contract in history.
So what we should do is at the end of this show, we should see how long we were live for and then do the math on how much Juan Soto would have made in this amount of time. And it's going to be a lot. Okay.
It breaks down to something like almost $100,000 per at bat.
It's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in the wrong game. If only we were so talented, right? Anyway, so we got an action-packed agenda for you guys here this morning. Got a number of things that we're going to run through. Of course, stocks in real life. We're going to be talking about Netflix today. Very popular, highly traded stock, as well as a household staple for most. We'll take a look at PeakBot picks. We're going to talk about, we're going to learn something. We're going to talk about a couple of the Greeks and how they work together nicely. And fellas, what else?
I think after that, just review the economic calendar for this week, talk about our outlook, and then we'll get on with our day. We don't have any winners for PeakBot picks because if we've rewind for 2 Fridays, then that was Black Friday, and we took off that day from PeakBot picks. So no winners this week. Do you have the leaderboard up by any chance, just so we can show that?
I can get it up. I can, if we can stall. And do we want to look at the picks we made Friday or not really? We don't need to.
Nah.
There's too much left. Too much theta.
Plenty of time on the clock.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. So I'll look this up. Yeah, actually, here it is. I got it right now. Coming up.
You got it.
We have 10 weeks of contest here. So what we got in PeakBot picks leaderboard update after week 10. First of all, just to look at the picks, the crew went 1,000% last week, 3 for 3 for each of us, 9 for 9 in total. However, Ben takes it home with an outrageous amount of premium collected, specifically from his coin position, because his other two were pretty boring. But he wins on 2 bulls and a bear. Now, taking a look at the leaderboard, first off, this is the stat that everybody enjoys more, but the weekly leaderboard, Ben has 4 wins. Thomas and I are sharing second place with 3 wins each. So now what else we are going to take a look at is the win rate here. Thomas is on fire, still 90% win rate on these picks. Ben is at 82.3%, selecting 24 or 29 correctly. And I am pulling up the caboose here, but 76.7% and improving. I'm not too upset about it, but
that doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. So that is the PeakBot picks update. If you want to see our picks that we made on Friday, they will be posted to socials here today. And
well, just a comment on that win rate, right? Like you guys are typically going after 30 delta options, right?
This is the trend spread watch list. So exactly the 30 delta. Yeah.
So every single one of you is better than the delta.
Yeah. I'm fighting it, but yes, I am 6.7% edged
I think that's an important point to bring up, Mark, because it's not like Thomas or Dillon or myself are like spending a ton of time really digging into these different choices that we've got. I mean, we literally choose 3 stocks in 5 minutes, and I think that goes to show like how, and we've talked about this on the show before, like this is why we prefer selling options versus buying options, because you can make a selection and you can be wrong on the price movement of that selection, but still win the trade. And in my opinion, not financial advice, get that banner flowing. In my opinion, it's just so much more advantageous to you as the trader to sell options versus buy options. That's why we've automated that process.
That's what we're here doing. Excellent. Okay, so that's the PeakBot Picks update. Tune in to see how we do this week. We'll be live Friday to take a look. Stocks in real life, Netflix and chill.
See what's next. That's their slogan. See what's next.
And then what the public has deemed their slogan, right? Which is what you just said, Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
So they've got a number of different things going on, don't they? Netflix, great stock to talk about. I want to shut up. I want to see kind of your guys' opinions on Netflix. I'm assuming we are all subscribed, or at least a loved one is subscribed, and we're still finding a way to share it.
Yeah, when they cracked down on the password sharing, that
like a year ago, right?
That impacted the family.
That sucked.
Yeah, because we all shared a Netflix account, and now we're like, oh, now we all got to buy our own.
And guess what? You all did.
And we all did.
Yeah,
we all did.
Let's be real; it's really not that much. The amount of
hoops
people would go through for $10-12 a month is actually kind of insane.
Yeah, is it? I feel like it's higher. I'm going to look at Netflix.
I think it's like $17-18 a month now. I don't know.
I'll tell you this: they're 2/3 of the way home from a PeakBot basic subscription. I mean, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, there's the standard with ads, which, come on, nobody's doing this. In fact, let me pull this up. Do you guys have any guess on what the standard with ads is costing?
$12.99.
No, it's actually way less. It's $6.99, but the standard, is now $15.49 a month. You can get extra member slots, loved ones. I didn't know that for $7.99 each. I didn't know that. I think I need to call my dad. I think I need my dad to take back over here and get me in one of these member slots. I hope I'm not paying premium, but I might be. I don't even know.
Do you know what the difference is?
Nope. Do you?
It's probably
actually,
quality.
It's right here.
It's probably quality, right?
Okay, so watch on 4 supported devices at a time. Wow. This is a lot of new information, I feel like.
And look, you can watch in 4K as well.
Okay, so we're not doing 4K on standard.
Only 1080p. Chumps.
You can download on 6 devices. You can add 2 extra members who don't live with you. This is I'm getting a little upset. What's this spatial audio? Get out of here. All right. Before I get too jaded here, because I'm definitely paying standard. I might be paying premium. But anyway, so what do you guys think? Okay. Do we have a favorite Netflix movie or series or documentary? Anything that we're watching lately? If you guys even watch TV anymore.
I mean, you know me, Dillon. I have a hard time getting into shows.
Yeah, Ben doesn't really watch much TV.
Wow.
The only TV I watch is sports.
Mark, come on. I watch a lot of Netflix. Do you?
I watch a decent amount of Netflix. My current top pick as far as shows is actually not on Netflix. I realized when I was prepping for the show, unfortunately.
Well, what is it though? Tell us.
Over on Hulu, Don't Tell. About the IRA. It's very good. Good, like historical drama about sort of the early years, late 70s, 80s of the IRA.
Okay, interesting. All right, continue. Sorry.
It's not about Netflix, so I can't go on too much about how great the show is. I can talk about trading Netflix though, and Netflix it's calmed down a little bit, but this is a wild stock to trade. This was the stock when I was sort of in my early years of pit trading. This was the name that like everyone focused on for earnings. That they're like, you know, it was Google before that, and then it was Netflix, where it felt like for several years every quarter was just a monster ride of what was going to happen. And you know, it'd either blow out the straddle or it would absolutely do nothing. But every earnings was an event for them. But I mean, look at this chart recently, right? Like it's hard to go much more vertical than that since the those late 21 lows.
Yeah. This I have traded Netflix on trend spread. Although I think it's probably found itself on our wheel watch list. Not going to be wheeling this stock anytime soon, just due to the cost, of course. But I mean, this is a really, really nice yearly chart. I mean, this, I can't believe how expensive the stock is.
If it's not already being talked about, I bet you there's talks of a split coming up just due to the high price. I bet you that we'll see a split in the next year or so.
I'm pulling up what on the list of most expensive stocks where it falls, because we did this with Costco. It can't be very far off. It's up here. In fact, it's 2 behind Costco. Netflix, if I'm looking at this correctly, it doesn't have it numbered out here, but it's about the 20th most expensive stock in the U.S. markets here.
Yeah, very, very similar price. Costco is trading at $9.92. Netflix is at $9.34.
Yeah, here's the list here. So Costco, Graham Holdings Company is what's separating the two here, and then Netflix. Interesting. So Mark, you've had some experience with this stock then.
Oh yeah, I mean, for as long as it's been around, I think this has been a pretty wild name to trade. What I was actually just looking up was a fun fact that I learned recently was that I couldn't find the year, but Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix for only $50 million.
Oh, I remember reading about that.
And the CEO thought it was a joke. That Blockbuster thought it was a joke that this like mail video company would approach them.
Oh,
yeah,
it's probably what they make a day.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. There's so many sad stories like that. And what? Now there's one Blockbuster left out in some weird town in Oregon or something. Just as like
I think it is in the Pacific Northwest.
Just as like a reminiscent. Okay. By the way, not trader trivia, but trivia for you guys. Do you guys happen to know when Netflix went public? Any guesses?
2004 or 5.
I was going to say 2000. I want to say 2001, like right in the .com.
You guys are strangling it. May 23rd, 2002.
Okay.
So at $15 per share. So if you were hot on Netflix, so people forget, right? Netflix was sending CDs and DVDs in the mail. That's what it was. I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that. But
Dillon, man, what were we doing in kindergarten? We should have been investing in Netflix.
I know. Come on, Dad. Like, give me a shot in life. Just could have given me a couple shares of Netflix when it launched in 2002. What else was he doing?
I hope my buddy isn't watching this show because he bought some Netflix very early on. He's a big film guy and was like, "This is the future." Made some money, but like it's one of those classic stories where you can't listen to like, well, if you had bought Amazon in 1997, like, he sold it at a great win and there was a great move. And like now stocks, 50x up from there.
Yeah.
But you don't hold that winner that long. That's not reasonable, portfolio management.
No, it's not. And I'm also going to see what it's on, what it's looking like on the watch list right now, just out of curiosity, because I'm sure on the trend spread, the spreads are wide. Doug seems to agree here.
Thanks for that comment, Doug. I was actually going to ask Dillon if he saw any splits in that chart he was looking at or whatever information he was looking at. So
glad you didn't ask.
At least once.
So yeah, on the watch list, Netflix, this is on the trend spread watch list, selling 7 DTE credit spreads with the trends. So right now, our trend spread bot, if you activated this today, would sell a put credit spread with a $27 spread, 27.5, collecting
Wow.
$408 in premium.
It's a decent ROI, a little bit lower pop than I would like to personally trade, but
this is toward the lower probability of profits here. Lowest is around 70%. Nice, pretty good ROI, not a super wide buffer. Ben, let's pull up the chart again, 917.5. If this were expiring this Friday, we'd want to stay above 917.5.
Let me look at the 5-day.
Yeah.
917.5 comes out right around this level here.
Oh, there looks to be some support there, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, we could look at. No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to pull up volume profile, but I don't know how to do that on Tradier.
Okay, don't. Yeah, this one escapes me right now because even in trend spread, like throwing almost $3,000 aside for that is tough. But they certainly seem to be trading in a channel. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the technical analysis on it? Quick.
Technical analysis
and analyst ratings. Go to TradingView.
I've got TradingView. We've got technicals. It looks like over the next week we've got a strong buy, and we saw with that chart, Netflix has just been on its way up, so that makes sense. And then 1 month. Not surprised, still see a strong buy there. What are analysts saying? We've got the forecasts baked in here. 43 analysts are offering a 1-year price target on Netflix. It looks like the average is predicting Netflix is going to drop by almost 13%. So if you are trading this on trend spread and you're bullish on it, again, not financial advice, but you might want to just keep an eye on it. I'd like to say that these analysts are fairly smart people and have a pretty good idea on where value should go. That's not to say that that's where it will go. But of course, with anything, you want to keep a close eye on your money. And then if we scroll down here, we've got 54 analysts giving ratings to Netflix, and we're averaging out at a buy. Solid amount of strong buy ratings, solid amount of holds, not too many sells or strong sells.
One of actually two things, but if you look on the right, Mark, you were mentioning their dividends, the earnings, and everything. You can find their earnings calendar there. You can just kind of see the 3 dots. I think it might just be down. Anyway, don't worry about it. I think it was down lower.
Okay.
But they've met and exceeded the goals and targets for their last three out of the last 4 earnings. What's the vol like? Mark, anything you have to report on data-wise from Netflix before we move on?
I don't have their chart up now, but I have to think this is like in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I can.
No, where I caught you out of left field there.
Just waking up Monday unprepared. That's all.
I was actually going to look up their earnings data since we were talking about that, but I'm curious what the implied vol sort of looks like here. Yeah, I was thinking about that, those analyst ratings too. And like, there are a couple strong sells. They need to put like a take profit in there, right? Like if I'm long Netflix, like it's not a sell, like it's not a binary, like I can only buy or sell it. If I'm long 100 shares of Netflix, I'm taking a little off the table here with this run up this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not selling everything because obviously, you let your winners run a little bit, but I would lighten my load if I was holding some Netflix bags here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a ridiculous chart. You guys know I've fallen in love with the Walmart chart. I really like that Costco chart that we saw. This is another ridiculously strong chart.
So 30-day vol is like a 24, and 90-day vol is like a 32 right now.
Okay.
And that's actually been creeping up. They had earnings, it looks like, at the end of October. But ever since then, at the money vol's slowly been creeping back up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see that with a stock price run up like this, right? Like people start coming for the puts or, bidding up options when it's getting like this. So, for option writers, that provides obviously some interesting scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last year on this date, the stock was trading at $462.
Yeah,
at 934 1 year ago.
Quite the gain. Quite the gain. For me personally, the spread's just too wide for me to want to trade this right now, and the buffer's just not quite there. I would personally not trade it on trend spread, but if you've got a lot of capital to deploy, it's a wide spread.
Yeah. That immediately for me, not financial advice. If I had a bigger account, this is right in there.
Interestingly, it looks like the calls are what's getting more expensive compared to the puts. And I don't think this is quite up there with the, super call skews like a GME or an AMC or something like that. People are looking at this run up and they're buying calls. Mm-hmm. The ratio of 15 delta puts to 15 delta calls, puts over calls, has gone from 1.4 to 1.2 over the past 3 months.
Okay.
So slowly trickling down, those calls are getting more expensive, and the skews sort of flattening there. As we're running up here, right? There are call buyers that are leaning into this, and they're probably making money if they've been buying calls.
Yeah, especially since August, right? It's been just the run since August has been, a 50% run up. That's crazy. All right, last comment on Netflix, and then we're going to move into learning something together. I just wanted to confirm, Dillon, you said it. There was one blockbuster left in existence, and it is in Bend, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If anybody wants to see what could have been, go visit Bend, Oregon.
Ben, we grew up with Blockbuster. I think it was moving a little bit past us. I was big on what were the ones at the grocery store? Redbox. I think that's what they were called.
Redbox,
Redbox guy.
Yeah.
In
I remember going into Blockbuster.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Blockbuster is the place to be on Friday nights. You'd get pizza and a 2-liter Pepsi and try and get the latest hit at Blockbuster. You'd run into people. It was
you would.
A scene.
And they always had popcorn, right? Weren't they fresh pop and popcorn behind this? I swear, I think our Blockbuster had.
Oh wow, not mine.
Popcorn. They might have been.
Anyway, my last comment on Netflix. Sorry, Netflix. Their sports documentaries and series, I've gotten into so many sports that would have never otherwise been into. Formula One. I'm obsessed with Sprint, which is the Netflix documentary on sprinters at the 100 meter, 200 meter. Absolutely insane. Anyway, just need to put that out there. Okay, let's learn something.
Mark, I will hand it off to you. We talked about Delta. We talked about Theta. Now we're going to talk Delta and Theta together.
Totally. So recap real quickly. Delta is the options prices sensitivity to a movement in the underlying stock. And Theta is the option prices sensitivity to a change in time. And so both of these are going to work together. Both of these are going to end up being a sort of function of the implied volatility. And generally, the closer to the money we get, so the closer the delta gets to 50, the higher the theta on that option is going to be. So when we look at our options that are way out at the wings, our 5 delta puts, our 5 delta calls, those aren't going to decay that much in dollar terms. They don't have that much extrinsic value in dollar terms. And so their theta value, how much they're going to lose as time goes by, isn't that much because there isn't that much there in the first place. However, as we get closer to the money, as we get higher delta, 50 being the highest delta, compared to in the money options, I should say. But, as we get closer to at the money, that theta is going to be the richest. So if you're buying and selling at the money options, there's going to be a lot of time value that you gain if you're in the short side or, are paying and decaying if you're on the long side. So, I think that's interesting as you're setting up these strategies, whether it's the trend spread that's targeting the 30 delta, or your condors are also going to have, some element of that delta theta combination together. It's important to, set expectations about where you align your deltas is going to have an impact of how much theta you're, gaining or losing on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because we don't talk a lot about theta at PeakBot, although it's assumed from our side, I guess, but it's not something that we actively, we're always talking delta at PeakBot. We're always talking about our trades in terms of what delta are we setting our strike prices at. And we don't necessarily actually, we never really talk about theta. It's not even on the watch list. However, I think that's by design. I think if you are interested in analyzing theta and delta together, you're probably, I'd say, leaning towards the more experienced options trader, and you're probably setting up your own strategies and your own plays versus having our bots do it for you. That's just my opinion. That's what I would think.
But even the active traders who know what they're doing, we found they love to let PeakBot just operate for them in the background, right? Like, just set it and forget it. So, yeah, you're right. We don't talk theta a lot. It is kind of assumed. For us, people are more concerned, it seems, about their percentage, their win rate and how much premium they can collect while still being low to moderate risk, for the most part. But
so sort of my perspective on the Greeks is that, like, they're because they're sensitivities, right? Like, they're all sensitivities to volatility, time, stock movement, or whatnot. They work best, and they're, in that sense, they're sort of abstractions, and they work best over the longer term. So if you have a position that's a 3-month long position, knowing what your theta is, or being able to combine thetas across different positions, that works well to, like, conceptualize what the theta is. I think, to your point, when you're trading more short term, delta is absolutely useful, because, like, that delta is going to normalize across time, across volatility environments. So that still works at the short term. But vega, theta, like, when you get to the short term, you care about premium collection, premium over parity, straddle prices. You don't care about what vol is going to do in the next 5 minutes. Like, that, normalizing that to an annual figure doesn't make sense. You say, what's the straddle on this? Like you guys do with your lotto picks, right? You're not worried about, like, 12 SPX vol or 18 SPX vol. You're saying, is this going to move $1 or not? So I think, like, when we frame the PeakBot strategies, I definitely think more in terms of hard dollars and cents, because we are at that sort of, short end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Now, Mark, for anybody that isn't necessarily used to analyzing the Greeks and might be curious just to, like, dip their toe in it, when you pull open an options chain and you're looking at delta, and let's just assume that we're looking at this in the context of, hey, I want to set up a credit spread. I know that the PeakBot trend spread bot will sell strikes at the 30 delta. If you're looking at two different tickers at the 30 delta strike, when you're looking at delta and theta at that point, what is that person going to want to look for in terms of the number value of theta if they wanted to get more of a decay over the course of the week? Do they want a higher theta, a lower theta? What are they looking for?
Theta can be particularly confusing because people often, like, or depending on, say, your broker or whatever, like, software you're using, can frame it in, like, sort of different ways. But at the end of the day, so whether it's positive or negative can really depend. But the most important thing to remember is, if you are short options, you will be earning money every day by decay. As time passes, your options will decay in value. Thus, you'll profit being short. And if you are a long option holder, you will lose money every single day as your options wither away, ceteris paribus, assuming nothing else happens. So both of these sort of are a function of the overall implied volatility of the option. And that's what I love about delta in general, right? Is that you can set a 30 delta target, and if vol is 50, that's going to be a decent percentage out of the money. If vol is only 10, that's not going to be that far out of the money, but that 30 delta is always sort of normalized to what that implied volatility environment. So if you're looking at the theta number always at that 30 delta level, the dollar amount is going to be mostly a function of the either stock price, right? Like a bigger option, a Netflix option at the 30 delta is going to be a much more expensive option than a Bank of America option at the 30 delta level. Even if they're they're not actually that far vol wise apart. But just the dollar handle is going to matter there. So kind of keep that in mind, that if you're, if you see big theta numbers, like also contextualize that with the dollar handle of the stock. Like we saw on Netflix, the spread width there, right? Like that 30 delta spread is a $27 spread. Whereas, so yeah, it's a big theta number. It's a big premium collection number because you're also putting out more risk on there. So pay attention to that dollar price. And, overall higher vol, even at the 30 delta level, is also going to be higher premium. So it's also going to be a function of the implied volatility level there. Two $40 stocks at the 30 delta level, the higher vol stock will have a higher theta number on that 30 delta option.
Yeah, and one thing to also mention, and thank you for that, Mark, very helpful. With PeakBot and our strategies, the longest contract or spread that we're in is 7 DTE, and that's our trend spread. So just wanted to put that out there. As far as time decay, we're either going either same day, 1 day, 4 day, or 7 day for the most part. And that's a lot, but I just wanted to put that out as reference for everybody before we moved on.
Cool. All right. I think this was probably helpful to some. And then again, for those that don't necessarily care to do this analysis themselves, let PeakBot do it for you. Or if you like our bots and you like everything about trading technology and you don't necessarily want to manage the bots or pick the stocks yourself, you need to talk to Mark. Mark's the guy. And let me get that page up. It's a great page that we've got together. Harvested Financial and PeakBot have combined forces so that way Mark and his team can provide advisory services and manage your bots, your portfolios for you. So that way you don't have to do it yourself. You can go to peakbot.com/harvested. You'll get brought to this page here. You will see all the information you need to know, a bunch of frequently asked questions. We've got a fee slider so you can see based on your how much dollars under management you want to put, what your fees will be, split between the PeakBot software fee, the Harvested Financial AUM fee. And then this part is great. The account minimum is only $10,000. And that's not something that's really, widely available in this industry. You can't really find a financial advisor if you only have $10,000, but now you can. We're able to leverage the power of technology, create efficiencies in that regard, and we can bring on accounts as low as $10,000, which is great. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and get started sooner rather than later. We all have seen those different posts on social media, like if you invest now, in 30 years from now, you'll have X amount of dollars. So every day you don't do that, you're just pushing that timeline back further. So you can go to peakbot.com/harvested. You can join the wait list at the bottom of this page. All we need is a name, email, phone number, and you'll get added to that wait list. We are bringing on new people every single day from this wait list. As of right now, we're cruising through at a pretty good pace. If you want to skip the wait list, bring a friend. Bringing a friend will jump you to the top of the wait list, and we'll get you right in. And Mark will start managing your accounts for you. Mark, any other things that I might have missed on this page?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that the only reason I'm able to do this at this account level and for all these clients is thanks to the automation of these bots. That it allows me to focus on the high level things, thinking about where the best volatility levels are, where the options with the best data profiles, right? If you found that interesting, that's what I'm looking at every day. That's what I'm paying attention to, and then using the bots to implement that strategy. So I think it's a really powerful combination here, where I'm able to allow the bots to go and do all the trading and opening and closing of positions, while I can focus on the analysis and picking the stocks and beating Thomas's win rate of 90%, and keeping clients consistently exposed to the right risk premia in the right places at the right times. So if you have any questions about this, I'm always here to geek out about options trading, to geek out about the names we're picking, the performance, why we choose our different strategies. So we would love to have anyone on board and hop on that wait list now.
Awesome. Love it. Again, that's peakbot.com/harvested. You can get signed up. Again, we only need your name, email, phone number. And like Mark said, feel free to ask any questions. We'll let you know that we've got your information once you've signed up, and then you'll have our information, and you can give Mark a call, have a conversation, talk about your goals, so on and so forth. So really, really, we're proud to offer this service. This is game changing, we believe, in this field. So again, peakbot.com/harvested. Get started.
Get in there, people. Awesome. Okay. All right. Economic events quickly for this week.
Yeah, let's take a look at. I'm gonna pull up SPY, just see what we're looking at here.
SPY analysis. Let's get your chart up there.
Get the chart up. I'm on TradingView. So it looks like we're pretty flat pre-market right now. We closed at 607.81. We're trading pre-market at 607.78 at this exact second. So pretty flat overall. Now, when we talked about this on Friday, Thomas had an opinion where he felt that we were just going to hit some consolidation this week.
Little dash.
We will see. I mean, the kid's 90% right. I'll just go with that. For me personally, I see us in a longer term bullish trend here. I'm feeling like we could push that right through into the new year. I'm reflecting that in my portfolio this week. I've got more bullish plays. I think in my PeakBot picks this week, I'm all bullish. But in my personal portfolio, I'm also playing a lot of bullish plays here. When we pull up the economic calendar for this week, I'm just going to scroll. You guys stop me if there's anything that catches your eye. I'll do the same. Nothing really major in my mind today. And again, I'm just filtered for US events here. Looking at tomorrow, December 10th, nothing really sticking out. Wednesday, December 11th.
Inflation.
So inflation data, CPI. So that's pre-market. So for me, that might deter me from running my condors on Tuesday. For Mark will always run his condors through the
keep calm and condor on.
Yeah. He's got that reputation now, but he's not wrong. He's really not wrong for doing that. It's statistically you want to be
because I know I'm not right. Like I don't know when the right time to turn them off is, and so you just got to take the wins with the losses.
You got to roll with it. Statistically, let things play out. We've got a 10-year note auction on Wednesday, which that will be grounds to turn the 0 DTE strategy off if anybody is trading Max's 0 DTE strategy with us. PPI on Wednesday. This is Thursday now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're in Thursday. PPI on Thursday morning. And then we got 30-year bond auction. So for Max again, 30-year bond auction is grounds for us to turn that 0 DTE strategy off. And then Friday,
nothing crazy.
Nothing major. So we got some potentially market-moving data coming up this week, midweek, Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, I'm not going to let that affect my trend spread decisions, but it could impact my iron condor decisions.
Yeah, I have to say, I've kind of adopted the keep calm and condor on mindset. I turned them off for the election. I don't think I've turned them off since. Maybe I did for Jerome for a Powell speech, whether that was last week or the week before. But what happened? I turned it off. Like I smart exited my iron condors. Missed out, which I was intentionally wanting to miss FOMC, but I forgot to turn them back on the next day.
Ooh.
and I missed
That's
the
why
rest.
you should work with an advisor maybe on setting up your portfolio.
Harvested Financial,
That's right.
peakbot.com/harvested. I forgot to turn them back on. And by the end of last week, everybody's like, "Oh, our Iron Condor, great week, great week." I'm like, no.
Honestly, Condors crushed it for me last
Dude,
week.
move on. Don't tell me. No, let's talk all about how the Condor crushed. That's been our best bot. We know it. Ben's working on Ben's kind of hooked on the Condors. As far from a development standpoint, Ben's having a lot of fun with different Condor strategies.
We
But
just
it's not
moved our.
always.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead. I was going to slightly change subject.
It's an interesting strategy because like realized vol has been like in the dumps recently. Like I think I saw like 30-day realized vol in SPX is something like 5.7 or like it's, but that doesn't always necessarily mean a great Condor environment, and kind of vice versa. In the sense that like, in the Qs we actually got a little beat up in the Condor last week because we had continual bullish up and vol's down. But if spot just keeps going through your Condor, like at the end of the day, a Condor is collecting short volatility risk premium, but direction really matters here. And so even if vol's going down, if spot's going up, like the Condor isn't always going to win. And so it can be a little counterintuitive that like, even in times when there isn't that much vol in the market and we drift up, the Condor can lose. But on the other hand, you could see a really choppy day and the Iron Condor ends up being a big winner. So that's kind of, these types of scenarios and the sort of like non-predictability of where that's necessarily going to work is what leads me to my motto of keep calm and Condor on.
I love it.
And one more exciting thing about that philosophy, especially as it relates to Mark and Harvested Financial, is we are actively looking at different ways to hedge when the Condor might not win. However, that particular hedge play will only be available through Harvested Financial because it's a little bit more sophisticated, and what we're thinking through would be presumably difficult to implement at the per trader level. So if we were able to implement it at the advisory level, it would be much more manageable and beneficial. So really excited to see what comes of that. That'll be a new release that we talk about at some time in the new year. And then I know we got a question. I'll bring it up in just a second. But I wanted to just quickly mention that we did just start beta testing on our Iron Condor Zero strategy. I think we'll get through the beta on this pretty quick. It's in closed beta right now. I think we might open it up to open beta next week. But this is a really exciting strategy for those of you that like the idea of zero DTE. In fact, this is just a 90-minute trade. This bot will sell zero DTE contracts on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. It sells the strikes at the 15 delta. It creates spreads that are $20 wide, so you do need a little bit more cash to get these Condors open. It's going to let winners expire, which actually helps make this strategy pattern day trader friendly, because when you do win, you're not whacked with the day trade there. The only time you do get whacked with the day trade is when the bot stops loss for you, which it'll stop loss at minus 150%. And then even at that, this bot only trades 3 out of 5 trading days. So by the time the 6th trading day comes around, even if all 3 were losses, you'll have another day trade in your pocket to use if you were to hit another loss. So pattern day trader friendly. The only time you might have to look out for PDT rules is 1, if you're manually trading and you manually day trade, or 2, if there's a holiday midweek, like we've got market closing for Christmas coming up. That's not technically a business day or trading day. So you might just have to look out on a day on like a holiday week. So really excited about Iron Condor Zero. I think, and I know I probably shouldn't, just say it out in the open, but like, I think we'll be in open beta next week.
Okay.
Provided everything goes well, and there's not any major bugs to report, but we'll be heavily testing this week. So
I thought you were going to say, like, you shouldn't be saying this, that it's our best, that you think it's our best bot, because you've said that live on air. I mean, 15 times.
I do think this will be our best bot. I do. Yeah. And I think it'll only get better over time as we collect more data and we're able to build in better risk management. Like, this is
same thing with all of our strategies.
Gonna crush.
Yeah. I mean, look, if
Yeah,
you're going to
this one
be
in
working with a bot,
particular.
yeah, if you're going to be working with a bot provider, make sure they're updating strategies. These bots have a shelf life. Adapt or die, and that's what we're doing here. Question from Doug. Do you guys mainly do iron condors on indices or equities too? Let me show you the answer. Doug, great question. The answer, truthfully, is both. However, when we're talking about the iron condor strategy that's live on PeakBot specifically, our 1DTE that straddles the 25 delta, we're trading these indices here. So SPY, XSP, QQQ, IWM, SPX, and NDX. So those are the bots that you're able to trade, or stocks that you're able to trade on the iron condor. However, our trend spread bot also will sell an iron condor trade on neutral trending stocks. Trying to find any here. So just this would sell a 7DTE condor on individual stocks here. So Pinterest is nor bullish or bearish. It would be setting up a put spread and a call spread at these strikes here. So to the true iron condor strategy, just the index. However, individual stocks for our trend spread bot. Did that cover it, guys?
Yeah, and I think that's right. I mean, that jives with my experience is that, like, as far as a systematic strategy that I want to like regularly or mostly have, exposure to, indices definitely for iron condors. That's not to say that there aren't the right times to trade them in individual equities. And I think that's what the trend bot highlights, that, there are certain times. But overall, I find that the idiosyncrasy of individual equities is just a little too much for the iron condor strategy.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's priced into the volatility and whatnot, but my experience has always been that from like a systematic perspective, the indices display the right sort of return profile and stability that makes that work as a persistent allocation, whereas the individuals, you have to be much more targeted in your spot picking.
Yep, completely agree. Doug now says new IC traders see the higher premiums but miss the higher risk of equities, in his opinion.
It's not just your opinion, Doug. I'm completely with you there. That I find the individuals, tempting, and it seems like you're getting a lot of premium, but they just wiggle differently.
Yep. Our iron condors on trend spread, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, typically are the higher paying premiums, right?
They typically are because they're 7 DTE.
Yeah. But I'm saying even the condors, as opposed to the bullish or the bearish, where you're selling just the put spread or the call spread, those condors seem to come in at higher up on the watch list when we're talking.
Yeah, of course, because you're getting premium on both sides. You're not just selling one spread, you're selling two spreads. Yep.
Okay, cool. I know we're getting a little close to market opening.
I think we need to wrap this show up here.
All right. Anything else we want to wrap? I just wanted to say quickly, in our PeakBot picks, I had Netflix. I selected Netflix on Friday. So my strike is bullish at 907.5.
That seems like a decent strike.
Isn't it? I feel like we're well away from that. And that's at 934 pre-market. So,
and is your long strike going to be like the 880?
What's that?
Well, I guess you only care about the short in terms of the picks.
Yeah, truthfully, when we did the PeakBot picks, I forget what the width of the spread was at that time. So I don't know what the sold put would be, or the bought put would be. But as we looked at it today, which was off of Friday's data, actually, it's probably about a $27 spread. So, but yeah. Anyway,
cool.
Anything else before we wrap, guys?
Let's hit it.
Let's get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be live later today, most likely for some SPX lottos. Doug, thanks so much for tuning in. Good trading. Happy trading to you and everyone else. We'll be live Friday, 11:55 a.m. Eastern time here on the Tradier Hub for the automation station. If you need us, you know where to find us. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the peak. Take care, everyone.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one. You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.